All right, let's get into it. Today, we're jumping right into one of the biggest questions in the tech world, a real clash of the titans. It's the great database debate, SQL versus no SQL. So here's the big question, right? What's the actual difference? And more importantly, which one should you be using? This is something developers and companies grapple with every single day. Because believe me, the answer completely shapes how you build, how you grow, and how your apps perform. So let's break it all down. First up, let's talk about the OG, the heavyweight champion of the data world, SQL. If you want to think of it in simple terms, SQL is like the perfectly organized, totally reliable, by-the-book librarian of your data. I mean, it's all in the name. Structured query language. The key word there is structured. Its entire job is to handle data that fits together neatly, data that has a clear, predictable structure from the very beginning. So what's really under the hood here? Well, we're talking about relational databases. All your data lives in these neat tables with very specific rows and columns. And it all follows a super strict blueprint, which we call a schema. You set up the rules first, and the data has to follow them. You've for sure heard of the big names here: MySQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle. They're everywhere. You know the easiest way to picture this? Just think of a perfectly organized spreadsheet. You know exactly what each column is for, each row is a unique item, and everything has its proper place. There's no guesswork, no chaos, just order. So where does this kind of rigid structure absolutely shine? Well, think about places where you cannot afford a mistake. We're talking banking systems, right? Financial transactions, or managing a massive inventory system. Even your standard e-commerce site, keeping track of user accounts and orders. Any situation where the relationship between different pieces of data is absolutely critical. Okay, so that's the established champ. Now, let's meet the challenger. This is NoSQL, the adaptable, flexible maverick. If SQL is the rulebook, NoSQL is the one that comes along and says, you know what? Let's just toss that book out the window. It's built for the speed and, frankly, the messiness of modern data. And that name, NoSQL, it's kind of telling, isn't it? It actually stands for not only SQL. It's a signal that we're moving beyond that traditional rigid model. It's all about embracing flexibility and using all sorts of different ways to store information. So instead of tables, NoSQL databases are non-relational. They can store data as flexible documents, kind of like what MongoDB does, or as super simple key-value pairs, which is what Redis is famous for. You can even store it in complex graphs. But here's the real game changer. There's no strict schema. You can just throw new kinds of data in whenever you want without redesigning the whole system. A great way to think about this is like a big digital filing cabinet. You can toss anything in there: a text file, a picture, a video, a spreadsheet. It doesn't care. It doesn't force everything into the same box. It just holds it for you, ready whenever you need it. And where does this wild flexibility totally win? Think about the endless, constantly updating feed on your favorite social media app, or a real-time chat application where messages are flying back and forth like crazy. It's perfect for big data analytics where you're sifting through massive, unpredictable data sets, and for content management systems that have to handle all sorts of media. Okay, so we've met the organized librarian and the flexible maverick. Now it's time to get to the good part. Let's put them head to head and really see how they stack up on the stuff that matters. Because this is where it all clicks. Seeing them right next to each other really makes the differences crystal clear. Okay, let's break this down piece by piece. First, the data model. SQL is all about those rigid tables with rows and columns. NoSQL, it's all about flexible formats like documents or key-value pairs. Then you've got the schema. SQL's is fixed, set in stone from the start. NoSQL's is dynamic. You can change it on the fly. Now, scalability, this one is huge. SQL usually scales vertically, which means you just buy a bigger, more powerful server. It's like building a taller skyscraper. NoSQL, on the other hand, scales horizontally. You just add more servers. It's like adding more buildings to your city. And finally, what's it best for? Well, SQL is the king of structured data where relationships matter, while NoSQL thrives with unstructured, ever-changing data. All right, after seeing that chart, it's easy to think, okay, I have to pick a winner. But what if that's the wrong way to look at it? Because in the real world, it's often not a competition. It's a collaboration. Think about a huge online store. It's the perfect example of this.
For the stuff that absolutely has to be reliable and consistent, like customer accounts, order histories, payment information, you use the power and safety of SQL. But for things that need to be lightning fast and super flexible, like product reviews, user recommendations, or even just what's in your shopping cart right now, that's where NoSQL comes in. They're not fighting, they're working together as a perfect team.
So it really boils down to this simple choice. Go with SQL if your data has a clear, predictable structure, and if keeping those relationships perfectly intact is your #1 priority. But you should choose NoSQL if your data is all over the place, it's changing constantly, and what you really need is pure speed and the ability to scale out almost infinitely.
And that right there is the single most important thing to remember. This whole debate isn't about which one is better. There's no such thing. It's all about which one is the right tool for the specific job you're trying to do. It's all about context.
So let's leave with this final thought. The real question isn't which database is the best. The real question is, as you think about what you want to create, the next game-changing app or that billion-dollar idea, which of these amazing tools is going to help you build that future? The choice is all yours.